Welcome to another biblically based look into today's news from Christian Voice New Zealand. Now here's Mike Bain.
Hello, I'm Mike Bain from Christian Voice New Zealand. And I'm being honest when I say I just don't get it. Now, I'm not sure if it's ignorance, arrogance, stupidity or denial, but humans don't respond to warnings. Now, every day there are signals in our lives of warnings we fail or we choose not to heed. Let me start with a real-life observation. Tina from Turner's doesn't like green speckled frogs. She loves cars. Personally, I don't share Tina's love for cars, but I'm a self-admitted straight-out lover of trains. Now, recently I was in the township of Narawahia. At a 25-minute period, I saw the Tahuia Express on its return from Auckland to the Tron, and then there were two large freight trains, one heading north and the other south. Now, I could hear the clanging of the bells, I could see the flashing lights, and I could see the barriers coming across the roads. But do you know what else I saw? The cars that Tina loves, they were ducking and diving the barriers, crossing the rail tracks while the freight train sped towards them. Honestly, my first thought was, would I make the right decision with the phone in my hand? Would I call 111 or film the crash? It's the world we live in, right? But other examples of warnings we ignore, especially in Hamilton. For example, amber lights at the intersection means floor the accelerator. A tidal wave alert. I've seen reports of people taking their kids to the beaches to see the wave, and look, it goes on. You get the picture, right? The Met Service failed to issue a weather warning for Auckland recently, but a rogue storm hit the city and residents found they'd flooded homes or a slip had engulfed them. They're criticised, but how many times do the Met Service issue a warning and the weather doesn't eventuate? We're constantly being warned about the rising sea levels and increases in global temperatures by scientists, politicians and, dare I say it, Greta, because of climate change. Look, we get the warnings all the time. It's been that way all through life. Mum and Dad are warning kids. Local bodies are warning us about, anything. The government is issuing warnings about this and that, and so it goes on every day. If only life could be as simple as Tina's from Turner's and just love cars. But life isn't simple like that. Like I mentioned at the outset, why is it we don't take warnings? Is it something in our genetic makeup which makes us shrug our shoulders or say, whatever? Is it a mental block when we floor the accelerator at the lights, when we overtake on yellow lines, when we take our kids to the beach to see the last big wave? The answer is yes, but let me run this by you for a moment. Imagine a world without warning. What happens when the people issuing the warnings stop? Would it make you feel unencumbered by other people's fear and knowledge, or would it make you more careful? Honestly, I don't know the answer to that one either. But what I do know is that mankind has been faced with warnings from the beginning. And I won't say it's in our nature to ignore them or even be skeptical of them. The first warning came from God to his new creation Adam over the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. Whether you believe in God or not, that's your choice. But God told Adam, and I quote from Genesis 2:17, "But you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die." As soon as you're told not to do something, there's a spirit of defiance in you to do it, isn't there? And to hell with the consequences. Adam and Eve at that stage had no idea what death was. Just like your child doesn't know what a smack is. We'll also find out. I know in our videos over the time we've mentioned many warnings about the nature of man's failure. Things like food shortages, economic failures, tough times, and even an impending war. At the time we issued those videos, the world was in a good place. But Jesus told his followers to observe the times, the seasons, and stay on the watch, which is something that we here at Christian Voice New Zealand have done. We view our culture through the lens of the Bible, not the other way, and we see things happening in our world which lines up with Scripture. We try to be the salt and the light in our community, but it's hard. We note our numbers of views has fallen. but we know the reasons why. Simply put, our message is not popular, and it's not popular because we call for some action to be taken by you, the viewer, and that is heed the call. You know, the prophet Jeremiah's message wasn't popular before the fall of Jerusalem. Noah's message was mocked before he entered the ark, and they killed Jesus because they just didn't like his message. But do you see this guy around the world? There are many like him, just there. No one really notices him until he's gone. Most people wouldn't give his departure a second thought, but others would question, is he ill? Has he died? Where did he go? If Tina from Tina's was no longer on TV, would you think she stopped loving cars? I don't think so. The man holding the sign hasn't stopped believing the end is near. He isn't there because the time to stop warning people has come, just as Noah did as he and his family stepped into the ark, closing the door as the rain started. No doubt they had the laughter from the scoffers ringing in their ears, but by faith they believed they'd done the right thing. And as hard as it was, they had to endure the cries of their neighbours, maybe some extended family, friends, strangers, as they all tried to clamber onto the ark for their survival. There are things in life we're warned about. There are some warnings where we can act, but like the designers of the Titanic, who were arrogant enough to refuse to believe that their design made the ship unsinkable, and refused to put as many lifeboats as needed, mankind shows that kind of arrogance towards any warning. The amber light, the warning bells at the train crossing, the weatherman telling you to prepare for a storm, even how dare you Greta, or even the house warnings on the tobacco. They're all warnings of some event which will impact your life and your future. Friends, I want you after this video has ended to click subscribe and share, but also take the time to think about life. Think about the warnings, but most of all, I want you to consider what happens when the warnings stop.